Kobe was a great player. No one's saying anything about to diminish his ability as a basketball
Kobe's
player.
top three.
But he is not.
Kobe's
he
top
is
three.
not top 5.
Kobe's
and
top
he
three.
Is not, and he's arguably top 10.
They say.
If you go before Michael Jordan and you ask players who were before the players who played against Jordan, who was the best, and the people who saw Jordan, they will always say, "Yeah, man, Michael was good, but you should have seen Wilt in his prime. You should have seen Kareem in his prime."
So what about those guys who saw all of them and say that Mike is the GOAT?
Yeah.
Or if they say that, I
but
played
now-
against
but-
Kobe and Bron, and Kobe was way harder to
But
guard.
if you look now, people are starting to say LeBron's better than Jordan. They're
Yeah,
saying
but that is, and
we can have a discussion anytime, guys.
hello guys, we got Shahzain Malik here, the founder of League of Basketball. We're here to discuss with him why he started the league, his passion for basketball, and his team 23SB, and a couple other topics. Shahzain, it's nice to have you, brother.
Thank you for having me, ZQ. It's nice to have you back.
Thank you,
in the
thank you.
flesh.
So Shahzain, first off, tell me where did this passion for basketball start? Before we get into the whole League of Basketball, where did the passion for the game begin?
It's quite interesting. Over here in Pakistan, you're not really pushed into basketball very early, and that was a very similar story for me. I started playing basketball around 15 years of age. But
Pretty
once
late.
once I picked it up, I just couldn't let it go. It was something that I knew I would want for the rest of my life, and it's been a constant ever since. I'm now 31, and almost more than half my life has just been ball, at least as a hobby or in my spare time.
Anything particular from basketball that drew you in?
I usually like a challenge, and I felt like in basketball, there's a very, very strong disadvantage or advantage to players with height. So
You don't say.
I was I was always told that if you want to pick up a sport, pick up something other than basketball. And people would ask me like, "Oh, you play basketball?" and give me some side eye. But I was like, "Yeah, this is what I play. Why don't we just get on the court and see what's up?"
Yeah.
And so that part of it drew
Awesome.
me in.
Awesome. So clearly that passion led you all the way to starting Pakistan's first league like this for basketball. Let's go back and tell me the starting steps to making this league. What was the motives and what was the goal of creating this league, and maybe talk about maybe some of the challenges in the beginning.
So when people say that I started it and I was the founder and I was the creator, I think it's a big disservice to at least two people. I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who were involved, but two people specifically who were instrumental to turn whatever this is into what it is today, and they're Khizr Munir and Shiraz Alam. They were the two other guys along with me who were really passionate about building the basketball community in Karachi at first, and then Pakistan in general. Khizr and Shiraz were the first two guys who on their own decided that they wanted to do a Ramzan league, and what we now know as RBL was the first iteration of it was by these two gentlemen. They started it, and I have obviously supported them, but they did it. And at the time, I thought this would just be a very small, close-knit sort of community who's going to do it, like maybe 20 guys, 30 guys, and that was how we're going to manage it, because Karachi has a lot of people and a lot of basketball players. So I wasn't sure how much we would grow, and it was only after the first RBL that I saw or I heard about Mamba Basketball League, or was it Neighborhood Basketball League, that these other guys completely separate from us had taken over this concept and started building on it. So they started adding stats, and that's when I was like, okay, there are guys over here who are not only willing to play but also manage. And that's when the real wheel started turning to what we have today.
It's different talking the talk and walking the walk, right?
Yeah.
And when you get examples of people walking the walk, then you believe that you can do it as well.
Yeah. And just to finish off about Khizr and Shiraz is still very active in behind the scenes and helping us out with League of Basketball. Khizr has moved away, but he supports
Here
us
in
from,
spirit.
from,
Yep.
from abroad. Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. So, Shahzain, tell me about a little bit of the growth from S1 season 1 all the way to we've started season 5.
I mean,
Here we are.
when we first started, it was we had 9 teams. We didn't have a women's league. We just threw a bunch of people together and we're like, let's just try and make this happen. Our stream was on a little camera, phone camera.
It wasn't 4K resolution?
No.
All right.
And one of the teams was called Shilits, which was a complete women's
I remember.
but alhamdulillah, we started, and now we have 8 teams for the men's league, C1, and then we have 8 teams for C2, so 16 teams for men's. We have 7 to 8 teams coming in for the women's league. We have a varsity league. We have an academy, and we had to turn away teams.
There's waiting lists. There's waiting lists for League of Basketball, guys.
Yeah, to qualify, you need to be good enough. So in 1 year, we managed to really grow this community, and a lot of credit has to go to the management team to make it happen.
Yeah. Tell me now about a couple of favorite moments, not 2-3-SB, from all the seasons combined. Give me a couple moments, and then second question is, tell me some of your favorite players in the league, and you can include 2-3-SB.
Okay, so favorite moments. I think one of my favorite moments was when, so they tie in together. The image of Uns at the end of, I think, season 2, getting eliminated and being completely distraught, lowest of lows, and then follows that up with season 3, lifting the first championship for Omega. So those.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I'm like, that's your favorite moment.
No, but that was a real arc, that had a very nice ending, and it's still going on till now.
Yeah, sounds kind of like a Mamba arc.
Yeah. I like the pun.
Yeah. Any other favorite moments? That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
The Usman Khalid highlight reel was pretty good too.
I always say basketball is his friend. He plays basketball like basketball is his best friend. They just get along great.
Whenever Bhakti would break a record like that, that was absurd. Hassan Zafar and Bhakti in how many 50 to 60 point games you just
paper ones.
Yeah. Where people would imitate Will.
Those are iconic. Yeah.
Those are really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think these are
awesome. I like it.
Really,
I like
really
it. All right. Lastly, Shahzain, what's the plans for 2-3-SB and S5? Right. You're clearly one of the most important players on the team, one of the leaders, one of the vets. Couple roster changes. What's the plans for 2-3-SB and S5 after a very tough finals loss, mano-a-mano, couple injuries on our side, and ultimately Omega came out on top and earned it and celebrated pretty hard and let us know about it as well. So what's the thoughts going to S5?
I mean, when it comes to 2-3-SB, for us, anything less than a championship is a failure, and we work hard. We think we got more than a chance. We are driven. We want to win, and I think Zain leaving was quite a bit of a hit to us because he was such a big part of our second championship run.
Yeah.
And now we did mitigate that with Shaf coming in, and yeah, if you guys don't know about Shaf, you will. That boy can play, all right? And if you don't know about ZQ, let him reintroduce himself coming up. So these boys are coming too, and I'm very excited. Aram will be back, Zed, being Zed,
yeah.
Omar being Omar.
Yeah.
So I feel very good about our team this season.
Awesome. All right, Shahzain, one more question for you. What are some of the challenges that League of Basketball faces, maybe behind the scenes that people don't hear about or see about, to make a league like this work?
I think people have this misconception that League of Basketball is growing so fast because there's some money that these guys are just pumping in and it's all profit. Like, we're a non-profit organization, so a lot of the stuff that we do is either to pay off the basically our camera team, our stats table, and our vendors for jerseys. So we basically keep nothing as a league. It runs on sponsorships. And anytime we don't get significant sponsorships to come in, then the season's at risk and the league's at risk. And so it's really pertinent for us to get those sponsorships in time. And when we aren't able to do it, it's quite difficult to give the players and the fans the quality that they've become so used to. So that's a big problem. But I do want to give a shout out to the team that we have, the management team. They do a hell of a job. Considering the timelines, considering how short of a turnaround we have between
they
seasons.
go above and beyond without it.
And all this league could not exist without them. I want to name some of the people like Mazaberi, Khizar Rahman. Who else is with us? Ramesh, ZQ, yourself, you're also very active. From our coaches in Lob Academy, Hans.
Got an amazing team, man. Amazing team. And
Savage.
And my personal thing for
people who don't know.
For any potential sponsors is I've played this game around the world. I'm working at a basketball academy in Canada. This is a league you want to be a part of, man. Like I travel every year to the other side of the world, leave my teams back home to come play with these guys. And I've had to explain to some of them, I'm like, even if I wasn't playing, I would come watch you guys play, man. Like, it's a different style of basketball. It's beautiful in its own way. And I've never met this big of a group that is so passionate about the game for all the right reasons, not for any nonsense.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like there's another thing that gets confused, that this is a Karachi-based league, that we only are focused on Karachi. No, we want to expand. We want to go as far as possible.
Tell them about everyone asking from all over the country.
Yeah, I know. And it is to address those people as well. We want to come to your cities. The only issue we're facing is sponsorships, plus operationally, we don't know how we're going to make it happen. But we know that that's the end goal, that we want to get to all of Pakistan and hopefully beyond.
I mean, I think it's a beautiful league. People's heart is in the right place. The motives behind the league are amazing, and little initiatives like starting one of the first youth academies for basketball and having 2 legitimate coaches and overseeing it in the right way. Starting the women's league. I mean, these are initiatives that people talk about, but they don't do it. And you're gonna wanna join us early on, because this thing's gonna rise. And like, there's a waiting list for some teams right now, man. Down the line, there might be, and it might sound a little confident or cocky, but like I said, I've seen this league grow, and we always stay humble. But it's on the rise, man. It's undeniable. So, I mean, like I said, it's your choice to be a part of it or not. But in terms of the sports scene, this is it, man. Outside of cricket, this is it.
If one thing you want to take away from this interview is that this league's intention is to promote basketball. That is the foremost thing that we want to do. We want to make sure basketball grows in this country. That is the singular mission for everyone involved.
Well, always a pleasure to talk to you, brother.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview. Keep following the progress of League of Basketball. Shout out to Shahzain for being part of making all this happen. And like he said, man, there's a lot of hands involved. And the clear common thing with all of us, we love basketball, man. Sometimes we get heated at each other, but we all love basketball. And come check us out. Come join us sometime. Thank you, Shahz.
Thanks.
All right, Shahzain, one more question here. What are some of the challenges